we strongly condemn the sponsored violent protests and support the public demands for the resignation of Ruto regime. Good morning, and thank you, members of the press, for joining us today. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party is deeply concerned about the recent increase in violence during the Gen Z-inspired protests. In the last 2 weeks, Gen Z has inspired the majority of disenfranchised and disillusioned Kenyans to exercise their constitutional rights to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, and to petition. They continue to do so in a manner that has captured the attention not just of Kenya, but the region, Africa, and indeed the whole world. In the typical fashion of a tyrant, the Ruto regime attempted to silence their voices by intimidation, arrests, abductions, and hijackings. This did not work, and indeed it shall never work. According to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, local and international media, the police executed a shoot-to-kill order that extinguished 41 young Kenyan promising lives, with over 300 Kenyans admitted to hospitals with gunshot wounds. We also note that the youth raised their demands from hashtag reject the finance bill to hashtag Ruto must go. Ruto and his henchmen sponsored goons infiltrated with the sole intention of destabilizing the continued peaceful protests. These disgraceful, criminal, and illegal activities violate the right to peaceful protest as provided for under Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Despite these perpetuated horrors, the young people have continued to march our streets, determined to drive and realize meaningful change for themselves, their families, and their country. We have observed that the intention of yesterday's well-organized, coordinated, and state-sponsored chaos was to undermine and denigrate the Gen Z-inspired nationwide nonviolent protests. Looting was intentional. The destruction was planned. The torching of public and private property worth billions of shillings was carried out in collaboration with the already corrupted security forces in the full glare of the media, and indeed the international media as well as the onlookers. We also note that despite a court injunction prohibiting the use of live ammunition, tear gas, and crude weapons to disperse protests, police continue to deploy arbitrary gunfire, resulting in innocent deaths and injuries. To restore peace in the country, we demand that the police act swiftly in identifying and apprehending all the violent and criminal elements that infiltrated the peaceful protests. There are many questions that Gen Z, Azimio, and the world have, the two most significant of which are: why is Ruto, through his henchmen and thugs, hiring goons to destabilize constitutionally protected protests, causing chaos and mayhem? Is the goal to declare a state of emergency and suspend the Constitution? Given Ruto's blatant mishandling of the economy through punitive tax policies, increased domestic and foreign borrowing, runaway corruption, ethnic and tribal public sector hiring, and astounding capacity to splurge on domestic and foreign travel and other luxuries, increased unemployment and high cost of living, the growing dissatisfaction the Kenyan public was to be expected. Generation Z is tired, and Kenyans are tired. The slew of lies has left the hustlers, quote unquote, distraught and traumatized. Kenyans have had enough of Ruto and are demanding that hashtag Ruto must go today, not tomorrow. To expedite the people's wishes, Azimio demands that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Amendment Bill 2024 be immediately signed into law. We are aware that this bill has been sitting on Ruto's desk for days now, and the Kenya Kwanza dictatorship is reluctant to sign it into law. As a coalition, we call out to Ruto and demand that he assent to this essential bill that allows citizens to hold their representatives in the legislature accountable. By the way, the Constitution says if you want to withdraw your member of parliament, you have to wait for 2 years. The 2 years are coming to an end on the 9th of August. So really, this is timely. We have officially, through our constituent parties mechanisms, put on notice all Azimio legislators who went against the wishes of their people. We are supporting the call for their recall. We continue to offer our condolences to the families of all those who lost their loved ones from the police bullets. We also wish those admitted to different hospitals quick recovery. We also note with concern the intention to divert the public attention from the real issues by purporting to adjust the salaries of senior state officers, members of parliament, members of county assemblies, and governors upwards at a time when the country's economy is not doing well. We urge our members to reject the salary increments. We call on all Kenyans to unite and defend the values of justice, democracy, and peace for which this country has been known. As a coalition, we are steadfast in our commitment to advancing the interests of every Kenyan citizen. Finally, it is time for Ruto to take responsibility for all his actions. He has blood on his hands, and he should go to allow for a smooth transition of power.